Depression is pain. It's deep, deep psychological pain. So if you put your hand into a fire and you left it there without drawing it, that's deep physical pain. So depression is like deep, deep, deep emotional and psychological pain.
Since 2015 till date, India has ranked as one of the most depressed countries in the world.
800,000 people die every year by suicide all across the world. Of these, 17% are the residents of India.
I think what was tough was not being able to talk to anyone because I don't think anyone understood what I was experiencing. I knew what I was feeling, but I don't think I was able to communicate entirely what I was feeling. Like I knew I had this pittish feeling in my stomach. I knew that I'd be scared to wake up. I didn't want to wake up. I wanted to always, I found sleep. I found comfort in sleep because I felt like that was my escape. And like waking up was a struggle. I didn't enjoy. And in fact, I think that's something I'm still scared of. I don't like the sound of an alarm. So
What actor Deepika Padukone said there are the textbook symptoms of depression. So what causes depression? Here at the Wiki Guy, we conducted a survey.
Our aim was to get to the bottom of this.
In order to do that, we asked questions such as age and demographics. And then we asked them what they thought
Was the primary cause of their depression.
our sample size was significant and our findings astonishing.
46.7% of the people we surveyed said that they suffered depression at least once in their lives. 40% said that they had never suffered from depression, and 13.3% people chose not to answer.
Chose not to answer. Why is that, we wondered.
The social taboos related to depression is so extreme in our country that a large number of people shy away from acknowledging their health problems.
It's a disorder, not a decision. And together, we can fight it.
Depression is pain. It's deep, deep psychological pain. So if you put your hand into a fire and you left it there without drawing it, that's deep physical pain. So depression is like deep, deep, deep emotional and psychological pain. So when a baby is born, they don't feel depressed. You know, they're full of. I can't remember what it's like to be a baby, but when you see babies, they're full of joy and everything is new and interesting and wonderful. Of course, they cry when they're hungry, but it's very, I don't think it's common for babies to come into the world and be depressed or feel a bit down. So at some stage in our life, there is a cause that leads to depression. Okay, very often there's trauma. There may be physical abuse or sexual abuse, or people becoming homeless, or not enough food to eat, not able to provide for your family, not feeling good enough. There's always something that causes it. And one of the big causes of depression is a sense of meaninglessness in life, that an idea that life is meaningless. Often what happens again, coming to another form of psychotherapy called logotherapy, which is meaning-centered therapy. Often what happens is that people, they go to the will to pleasure to try and deal with that pain. And Viktor Frankl calls that addiction. Or they go towards the will to power, which is a sense of trying to control their situation. He calls that aggression. So if I talk about the will to pleasure for the moment, it's not only addiction to drugs or to alcohol, but it's addiction to anything, to states of mind, an addiction to, I don't know, wanting to go to parties, an addiction to wanting to be happy. It could be, let's see. There's a guy, a martial arts instructor once told me that he had a student coming to his class every day, hanging around every day, and he was treating martial arts was his addiction. And the instructor said to him, "You're allowed to come here 2 days a week. Go home to your wife and family. Be a father. Be a husband. I don't want to see you more than twice a week." So he was using martial arts as an escape. Does that make sense?
So he was addicted to martial arts.
Yes, yeah. And some people can be addicted to exercise. Now, obviously, in martial arts, it can be fun, it can be healthy. Doing exercise can be fun, it can be healthy. So it's not what you're doing, it's the attitude that you're doing it with. Why are you doing it? Is life so painful that you just want to escape it? Of course, the ultimate escape is suicide. And that's when the pain is so great, people feel that they cannot face it anymore. Now, when I talk to people who are feeling suicidal, and the research shows this also, I ask them, do you really want to die, or do you want the pain to stop? If there's another way to make the pain stop, would you choose that way? And almost always they say they would choose that other way. So dealing with that pain, whether it's because of unemployment or the loss of one's home or the loss of a loved one, that's one thing that can happen, is the will to pleasure or addiction. Then the other side, the will to power, the attitude is, if I can control everything in my life, then nothing can hurt me. But that doesn't work either. When you try to control too much, one becomes aggressive. One becomes possibly a bully, or maybe they beat their wife, or maybe they, I don't know. It's about power and control. And for myself, I find there's a great connection between mindfulness and searching for meaning in life.
Right.
Because if you have that meaningful mission, often doubts and fears will come along to try and put you off the path. And mindfulness helps you to control those doubts and fears and say, yeah, I hear your doubts, I hear your fears, but I'm carrying on anyway. I'm going to do it anyway. So you were saying that depression is not talked about much in India, and it's the same. There is stigma here also in Ireland. Although in recent years there are many media campaigns because there's been so much suicide and people want to stop the suicide and help people to survive. But the more people come out and talk about it, I think in Ireland 1 in 4 people have or either have experienced or will experience mental health issues in their lives. You weaken the fear by facing it. Now, I'm not talking about taking on the world in one go, gradually. And everybody has their own pace. Yeah, every person is unique. So if you were to measure fear in units, one person might be able to face 10 units of fear, and another person might be able to face 1, another might be able to face 70. So should be no judgment of anybody.
You're trying to help people overcome their fear through mindfulness?
Before we move on to our next segment on mindfulness with Charles Bannon, we want to talk about and address the issues of taboos a little more in detail. Joining us for that will be the anxiety warriors. Our main focus is to understand the taboos that are still prevailing. A really exclusive Indian YouTube channel that talks about mental health is the Anxiety Warriors. After listening, we will continue with Charles's interview, wherein he will enlighten us with what mindfulness is and why it should be popularized. Stay tuned to the Wiki Guy.
Mental health is something uh, you can't even talk about it with your family. Okay, in mental health issues, if you want to recover from those issues, then we need to open up. We need to start discussing it with our family. But this is something like if we share with others, like we are suffering from this problem or mental health related problem, then they start treating us as if we have gone insane. But if your family members are not willing to accept that you are suffering from some mental health problem, then how can you expect a society that they will start accepting you? You can go to, I would say, physician, you can go to cardiologist, you can go to dentist. But if you say that I'm suffering from mental problem and I want to go to psychiatrist, then it will become like what happened to this person has gone crazy, and families used to hide from others that my son, my daughter is suffering from this issue. Like always say, mental health has not given priority in India. And in fact, you can see that mental health has never been the part of any manifesto of political party as well, because we are not giving it any importance. But these days, we can see that uh, there is tremendous rise in cases of suicide. See, I think what matter to us is society. We keep on thinking like, log kya kahenge? If someone will see like my son or daughter is visiting some psychiatrist, and if someone will see, then they'll come to us and they'll start thinking that this person has gone mad and something is wrong going in the family. So because we are scared of symptoms that we are getting throughout the day, that what will happen next, what will happen next. You don't want others to judge you. So it's high time that we should start giving importance to mental health as well, because support systems are very much required so that nobody can suffer alone.
Right. Right. So it has to come from the top, right? It has to come from people in power.
Right.
Mindfulness gives us hope. Let us hear in the remaining parts of the interview with Charles Bannon.
We're trying to help people overcome their fear through mindfulness.
Well, not only mindfulness. I'm a counselor and psychotherapist and a social worker. Basically, mindfulness is about returning to the present moment, because it's the only moment that we really have. So the past is gone and we can do nothing to change it. And we might regret things that we did in the past. We might be upset about things that happened to us in the past, but we cannot change what happened. It's like Viktor Frankl said, the past is like a reflection of eternity because it's set. It can never change. So we can carry all this pain and worry and guilt about the past, but also then we think ahead to the future. We worry about things that might happen, things that could happen. And we can, all this worry and stress can build up a lot of anxiety within us.
Right.
So, and often when we think about things that might happen in the future, they never actually happen. Okay, so they say that the mind is a bad fortune teller, and many times I found myself that the way that things turn out is not the way I expected or anticipated. So mindfulness is about why put all that energy into worrying about things that may never happen, or regretting things that we cannot change. So we can learn about the past, and we can plan for the future, and it's very important to do that. But really the only moment we have is the present. So mindfulness is always about coming back to the present.
If I want to learn mindfulness, how do I go by with it? Like, are there like books that I should read, or is there any kind of music that I should listen to?
There are books you can read. I'll show you this one here. This is a very good one. I don't know if you can see that. So this is Mindfulness, a practical guide to finding peace in a frantic world. It's a practical guide to finding peace in a frantic world, and that's by Mark Williams and Danny Penman. I know there are courses you can do here in Ireland. I don't know of any courses in India, but to my knowledge, mindfulness originated in India. Sometimes people have said to me, how can you be mindful when something really stressful happens? So I said, it's like, well, that's like saying, how can I go and run a marathon if I never trained for it? So, if you want to run a marathon, which I've never done or never plan to do, it takes a lot of training, it takes a lot of preparation, and eventually, after I don't know how many months, you can do it if you prepare well. So with mindfulness, if you prepare every day, like my most recent video on mindfulness, I was just in the moment, seeing what's going to happen and how do I react to it. So I could hear a bird singing outside in my garden, and there were pauses every now and then between the bird singing, and when the bird was quiet, I was saying, come on bird, sing again, you sound so beautiful. And then I realized I was trying to control the situation. Like, how can I control a bird? It was quite funny, actually. It made me laugh. But I realized just let go of this desire to control and just let it be. Just be in the moment, because I cannot control anything outside of myself. I can only control how I react to it, how I deal with it. So when you can do a little exercise like that every day, you get used to it, and then when tough times come along, it's easier. When I had meningitis in December 2018, and I didn't know if I would live to see the following day, and I was worried about my family, and I was afraid at the thought of dying, potentially dying. But I remember mindfulness practice, and I did probably the deepest mindfulness practice that I've ever done. And in doing that, I just found peace within. The only thing I could control was my response to the situation I was in, and I just decided to go with that and to flow with it and to be in it. And I felt incredibly calm. And actually, I think it did a lot. I mean, human beings, we're all going to die someday. And I'm not saying that to be pessimistic, but it's true. But having faced that moment, the mindfulness actually took away my fear of death a lot. And then later, 18 months later, I got a diagnosis of cancer. Now I'm fine now. I'm in good health. I had a lot longer to think about dying and death, and realized that the fear was something additional. It's not something I needed to get into, or not something I needed to be there, but that it was an optional extra. So I was able to calm that fear. Well, after going through some psychological process, I figured out how to calm that fear. So it helps with the little things and with the big things.
That is an inspiring story.
Can I show you something here to help explain?
Okay.
So can you see this? This is my charioteer. So it's like the chariot itself is like the physical body. Okay, and the horses are like thoughts and emotions. They're the mind. So, and the charioteer is the inner self, or what mindfulness calls the silent observer. But often we're not aware of the silent observer. We are so led by the horses, by our thoughts and by our emotions, by our fears, our desires, our worries, just like you explained a moment ago. So if we're motivated by fear and desire and thoughts, we can end up going off the path that is healthy and good for us. We can create mountains out of molehills. We can fear the worst, as you said. But when you calm those down, mindfulness helps to calm down the thoughts and emotions. And if you listen, you come to the Charioteer, or what in mindfulness practice is called the silent observer. So, and obviously the Charioteer can direct the horses, can keep the chariot on the path, and the reins represent consciousness. So, just put this down. So it keeps you calm. It keeps you from, mindfulness prevents you from being taken all over the place. Now those challenges may come, but it's how you deal with it. And the interesting thing that happens then is if, like for myself personally, if something causes me to be anxious, or if I find that my mood is a bit low, those are signals to me to be mindful, to do mindfulness practice. It's like a light switch turns on when I feel a bit down, or if I'm starting to get stressed about something. It's like a light switch. It's time to be mindful again. Like on my YouTube channel, I have every Monday I'm going to do a guided mindfulness session. So people, as long as they have an internet connection anywhere in the world, they're welcome to join in. It's a recorded session. I don't do it live, but people I know tell me that it does help them. And if you can practice mindfulness for 20 minutes a day, or if you do it for 3 minutes, 3 times a day, so for example, morning, afternoon, and evening, it has the same effect as if you practice it 20 minutes a day. And that's a scientific evidence-based research that says that. So those videos are there for anyone who wants to tune into them on the Nooetic Center Limited YouTube channel. I can give you the details for this.
I would request my subscribers to please check out your channel and subscribe to your channel for the content that you put out every Monday. And that's in line with the theme of this video, which is to spread awareness about mental health and the techniques to overcome it. So I would please request you guys to please subscribe to Charles's channel. I'll put a link in the description, and please do check it out. Charles, thank you so much for joining us and spreading the knowledge of mindfulness and how it can be used as a technique. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for being a part of this.
Yeah, and I want to thank you also for asking me. I feel honored and privileged. And I know we all are from different countries, but I believe in one humanity. So whatever culture or country we come from, we're all one humanity. We're all in this world together. And I believe in peace and unity. So it's an absolute privilege and a pleasure for me to to be on your channel and hopefully helping people around the world. So thank you.
Charles Bannon, ladies and gentlemen. You can check out the full interview on our Patreon. It is noteworthy that while making this video, we learned that India spends 0.05% of its health budget on mental health. Compare that to Japan, which spends 0.5% of its GDP on mental health. As Anukriti said, it's high time this changes. It has to come from the top. We must remember that mindfulness was discovered in ancient India, as Charles said, and it unfortunately seems to be lost in today's modern India. Our attempt over the next few weeks will be to try and repopularize it and understand it better. We thank all our viewers for tuning in to the Wikigai. We request you to please keep yourself subscribed for free and fair content.